Imagine caring for a blueberry like a sick child for 3 years. We checked the acidity of the soil every week, added sulfur, and mulched with pine needles. The result was 2 cups of berries that tasted like disappointment. Now imagine a plant that doesn't care about soil acidity, which grows faster, produces more yield, and contains 3 times more antioxidants. One you've never heard of because nurseries have been scamming you for decades. Welcome to the world of true superfruits for your garden. Today, I'll tell you about 7 fruits that are superior to everything they sell in garden centers. Some gardeners will be very angry at this information. These plants produce 10 times more food with minimal effort. Let's be honest about what they sell in garden centers. Plants are chosen not for taste or yield, but because they survive transportation and look beautiful in pots. This is a system designed for home gardeners to fail. Let's take blueberries, which everyone considers a superfood. According to the USDA, the average bush produces 1.5 pounds of berries per year under ideal conditions. At the same time, the plant needs a narrow range of soil acidity from 4 5/10 to 5 5/10, which is confirmed by research from the Cornell University. Companies like Monrovia Nursery are prioritizing plants with long shelf life and transportability. This is why consumers see the same boring options in every store. Meanwhile, there are fruits that grow without whims, yield many times more, and contain nutrients like a pharmacy complex of vitamins. These plants are ignored because they do not fit into industrial agriculture. They're too soft, too perishable, or too weird-looking for supermarket shelves. Let's start with the fruit that blew my mind the first time I grew it. Actinidia acute, also known as mini kiwi or hardy kiwi, if you want the scientific name. Actinidia arguta. Imagine a regular kiwi from the store, that fuzzy brown one from New Zealand for $1.50 each. Frost hardy kiwi looks the same, but is about the size of a grape, has a smooth skin, and is eaten whole. You just pop it in your mouth like candy. Here's what will break the mold for you. They grow on a vine in climates where a regular kiwi would freeze to death. Most people, when planting a fruit vine, choose grapes. And grapes are good if you like to combat powdery mildew caused by the fungus Erysife necator, Japanese beetles and birds. The frost-resistant kiwi laughs at all these problems. It can withstand frosts down to -32 degrees Celsius. Does not suffer from powdery mildew. Birds mostly ignore it because the fruits are small, and the harvest is so massive that they don't have time to eat everything. When it begins to bear fruit, usually in the 3rd year, one vine can produce 45 kilograms of fruit. 45 kilograms per plant is not a typo. Let's talk nutritional value because this is where the real magic starts. Grapes contain some vitamin C and resveratrol, if you believe it. Frost hardy kiwi contains 5 times more vitamin C than an orange, more fiber than an apple, and a full range of antioxidants. According to the USDA Food Data Central, Actinidia acute contains record levels of lutein for eye health. Gram for gram is not even competition. Research in the journal Nutrients supports a link between lutein and the prevention of retinal degeneration. The taste can be described this way. Imagine that kiwi and grapes had a child who was raised on pure sugar. Intensely sweet with a slight tropical flavor. You will eat them until your stomach hurts. I speak from personal experience. The best part is that they don't need special soil. No need to spray anything. All you need is a strong trellis, because these vines are aggressive. During the season, they can grow 6 meters if they are not limited. Plant a male and female plant for cross-pollination and just stand back. The only reason why frost-resistant kiwi is not everywhere is poor transportability due to the softness of the fruit. Walk into any garden center and you will see red raspberries. Rows and rows of Heritage, Autumn Bliss, Carolina varieties. Gardeners buy them because raspberries are delicious, but they grow the wrong color. Black raspberries are what you need to plant. And I'm not talking about blackberries. About real black raspberries, Rubus occidentalis, according to the scientific classification. It looks like a raspberry, but is dark purple, almost black, and objectively superior to red in all measurable parameters. Let's compare the yield. A good red raspberry bush produces maybe half a liter of berries per shoot per year, if you're lucky. A mature black raspberry bush produces 2 to 3 times more fruit. The berries are denser, so they actually survive from the garden to the kitchen without turning into mush. The taste is deeper, richer, almost wine-like. This is what raspberries should taste like if they weren't bred to be fragile vehicles. According to Ohio State University research, black raspberries show significantly higher yields in Midwestern climates. Birds don't bother them as much because the color blends in with the foliage. The only drawback is that they reproduce by rooting the tops, which means the appearance of new plants 3 meters from the main bush. Now comes the fun part, the nutritional value. Red raspberries contain antioxidants, it's true. Black raspberries contain anthocyanins, the same compounds in blueberries that everyone goes crazy about, only in higher concentrations. Research shows that black raspberries have anti-cancer properties. Ohio State University is studying it for the prevention of esophageal cancer in clinical trials. This is something you won't find in a plastic Driscoll's container from the supermarket. The journal Food Chemistry publishes data on the concentration of ellagic acid in black raspberries, which is several times higher than other berries. Ellagic acid is being studied as a potent anti-mutagenic agent that can block DNA damage. Black raspberries are more drought-resistant than red raspberries, tolerates heat better. The shoots are almost thornless, depending on the variety. And most importantly, they are easier to care for, require less pruning, and practically do not get sick. The reason nurseries promote red raspberries is simple. They look prettier in a pot. This is the only reason. Don't fall for this trick. Propagation by rooting the tops means free plants in a couple of years. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Sea buckthorn is not for everyone. The taste is aggressive. Imagine orange and pineapple fighting in your mouth and both losing. Sour, tart, slightly bitter and oily. Your face will make grimaces. But if you care about nutrition, sea buckthorn is a king, not a prince. The king of all superfruits. Sea buckthorn berries contain more vitamin C than oranges, more vitamin E than wheat germ, and more omega-7 fatty acids than any other plant on the planet. Omega-7 is a rare acid that is beneficial for the skin, mucous membranes, and the cardiovascular system. This is what they put in $50 creams. The journal Food Chemistry published data on a record concentration of palmitoleic acid in sea buckthorn fruits. Most people don't know, sea buckthorn contains vitamin B12, which is almost impossible to find in plant sources. Contains iodine for the thyroid gland, selenium for immunity, iron for energy, and vitamin A for vision. It's not just a fruit, it's a multivitamin growing on a bush. Most people instead grow citrus fruits in warm climates or buy oranges at the store, getting significantly fewer nutrients. Sea buckthorn grows in climates where citrus fruits would die instantly. Withstands frosts down to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Grows in sandy, poor soil. Fixes nitrogen through symbiosis with Frankia bacteria, which means it improves the soil around it. Does not require fertilizers after rooting. Does not require watering after the first year. The yield of a mature bush is 9 to 14 kilograms of berries. In traditional Tibetan and Mongolian medicine, sea buckthorn has been used for centuries as a universal medicine. Here's the secret to harvesting. Wait until winter, when the berries freeze on the branch. You cut the branch, put on thick gloves, and the frozen berries are easily separated with minimal effort. No frosty winters. Just cut off the branches and put them in the freezer for a few hours. It's difficult to eat them fresh unless you have a masochistic taste, but you make juice, syrup, add it to smoothies. A tablespoon of sea buckthorn juice in your morning smoothie, and you've consumed more vitamins than most people do in a week. Само растение красивое. Серебристо-серая листва, ярко-оранжевые ягоды, которые держатся на ветках всю зиму. It looks like something out of a science fiction novel, and the birds ignore the berries until late winter. Here's the question. Why do people torture themselves with blueberries? Blueberries are the gardening equivalent of a high-stakes relationship. You need acidic soil between 4 and 5/10 to 5 and 5/10 pH, or the plant will throw a fit and die. Constant watering is needed, but not too much, otherwise the roots will rot. Specific mycorrhizal fungi are needed in the soil, which is confirmed by studies in horticultural mycology. It grows slowly, bears modest fruit, and after all this work, the birds eat 70% of the crop. Now I'll tell you about the serviceberry, also called the Saskatoon berry, Amelanchier alnifolia according to scientific classification. Looks like blueberries, tastes like blueberries with a hint of almond, but grows in any soil. Clay, sand, loam, neutral pH, acidic pH, it doesn't care. Erga is native to North America, so it is already adapted to your climate. Withstands frosts down to -46 degrees Celsius. Tolerates drought and wet springs. It grows quickly. The 3-year-old bush is already bearing fruit. The yield of a mature Urgi bush is 4.5 to 9 kilograms of berries. A blueberry bush of the same age yields maybe a little over a kilogram if you prayed hard enough. Nutritionally, serviceberry contains more fiber, more iron, and more antioxidants than blueberries. Similar anthocyanin levels, but with better mineral composition. Indigenous peoples of North America used serviceberry and pemmican, a concentrated source of energy for long journeys. Research from the Canadian Grains Council shows that serviceberry contains significant amounts of manganese and magnesium, which are critical for bone metabolism. The ORAC index of serviceberry is 1.5 to 2 times higher than that of many commercial berries. Birds really love shadberry, but since the bushes produce so much fruit, there is enough for everyone. You'll still get buckets of berries even after the blackbirds have eaten their fill. The plant plays an important role in supporting pollinator biodiversity. The reason why serviceberry is not seen everywhere is because it is a regional fruit. In Canada, it is huge, especially in the province of Saskatchewan, where commercial production is measured in thousands of tons. In the USA, it is grown mainly by people who really know what they are doing. Nurseries promote blueberries because they can charge $30 for a plant that needs $50 worth of soil amendments. This is a scam. Stop growing blueberries, grow shadberry. Let's talk about cherries. Most people, if they grow cherries at all, plant sweet cherries. Bing, Rainier, Lapins. Sweet cherry is good if you like to climb 6-foot ladders, fight squirrels, and cover the entire tree with bird netting. Sweet cherry trees also suffer from leaf spot and brown rot. They need a very specific number of chilling hours in the winter, or they will not bear fruit. They are finicky, tall, and a headache. Tart cherries, on the other hand, are the workhorses of the fruit world. Montmorency, Balaton, Norstar. These trees remain small, 3 to 4 meters. Easy to cover with net, easy to harvest. Self-pollinating, so only one tree is needed. Frost-resistant and tolerate spring frosts better than sweet varieties. Birds don't like sour cherries because, surprise, they're sour. But here's the real reason to grow them. Tart cherries naturally contain melatonin. Research suggests that tart cherry juice may raise blood melatonin markers and improve sleep quality in people with insomnia. The European Journal of Nutrition published clinical data on the effects of Montmorency cherry juice on sleep. Let me repeat, you can grow a tree that produces fruits that help you sleep. This isn't bullshit from wellness influencers. It's peer-reviewed science. Research from Louisiana State University confirmed an increase in sleep duration of 34 minutes in study participants. Yes, they taste sour, but that's the point. Make a pie, jam, juice, or do like me. Eat fresh, because you are an adult and can handle a little sourness. Nutritionally sour cherries destroy sweet ones. More vitamin C, more antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds that are being studied to treat arthritis and gout. The journal Molecules published data on cherry anthocyanins as cyclooxygenase inhibitors, which explains the anti-inflammatory effect. The only drawback is that tart cherries do not travel well, so you will never find fresh ones in the store. This means that the only way to get it is to grow it yourself, which explains why it's worth doing. Trees on dwarf rootstocks remain manageable in size and begin bearing fruit in the second or third year. The harvest ripens in midsummer when most other fruits are still green. If you live in a cold climate, you've been lied to about what you can grow. The gardening industry says to plant strawberries, raspberries, maybe blueberries if you're lucky, and then watch the plants struggle with the winter for 6 months. Edible honeysuckle does not fight. It laughs at winter. Also called haskop, native to Siberia, withstands frosts down to minus 48 degrees Celsius. It blooms so early in the spring that late frosts do not even touch it. It bears fruit in June, earlier than almost everything else. Looks like an elongated blueberry. Tastes like a mixture of blueberries, raspberries, and blackcurrants. Sweet with a slight tartness. Russian research institutes have documented survival at temperatures that kill most fruit crops. Nutritionally, they're absurd. More antioxidants than blueberries, more vitamin C than oranges, anthocyanins through the roof. The yield of a mature bush, and they ripen quickly, is 2 to 4 kilograms in June. These are fruits when nothing else is ripe. Eat fresh berries while your neighbors wait for their strawberries to bloom. The University of Saskatchewan has developed modern varieties adapted for commercial cultivation in North America. They are easy to care for. Any soil, full sun or partial shade, minimal pruning, no serious pests. The birds don't bother them much because they bear fruit so early. The birds haven't figured out what's going on yet. The comparison is again with blueberries, because this is what cold climate gardeners tend to switch to. Blueberries are slow. Honeysuckle bears fruit in the second or third year. Blueberries need acidic soil. Honeysuckle doesn't care. Blueberries require constant watering, while honeysuckle tolerates drought. The only caveat is that you need 2 different varieties for cross-pollination. But this is not a nuance, it is just a reason to plant more plants. In Japan, honeysuckle has been grown for centuries under the name haskap, especially on the island of Hokkaido. The reason honeysuckle isn't mainstream is because it's new to North America. It has been grown in Russia and Japan for centuries, but it has only appeared in North American nurseries in the last 20 years. Give it another decade and everyone will grow it. Get ahead of the trend. Honeysuckle will become the next big superfruit for cold regions once the marketing catches up with it. The last fruit, and perhaps the most underrated on the list. Chokeberry, also known as chokeberry. Aronia melanocarpa, if you want the scientific name. The name chokeberry is terrible marketing. It sounds like it will kill you. It won't kill. The name comes from the fact that raw berries are astringent. They dry out the mouth. But after processing, juice, jam, baked goods, this astringency disappears. It remains one of the most nutritionally dense fruits on the planet. What are people growing instead? Probably nothing, because most people don't even know chokeberry exists, but if they are looking for antioxidants, plant blueberries or goji. Chokeberry destroys both. Aronia has the highest ORAC score, a measurement of antioxidants of any berry. Higher than acai, higher than blueberry, higher than elderberry. We're talking about 16,000 plus ORAC units per 100 grams. Blueberries have 4,600. It is being studied for cardiovascular health, diabetes control, and inflammation. The USDA database confirms record levels of proanthocyanidins. This is a pharmaceutical fruit that you can grow in your yard. Chokeberry grows in any soil. Wet clay, excellent. Dry sand, excellent. Frost resistant, down to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Heat resistant. Does not get sick, is not affected by pests. Deer do not touch it. Birds mostly ignore it until late autumn. The yield of a mature bush is 4 to 14 kilograms of berries. They hang on the plant until you are ready to pick. No rush. They'll wait. The shrub itself is decorative. White flowers in spring, glossy green leaves in summer, bright red foliage in autumn. Beautiful even when not bearing fruit. In traditional Native American medicine, chokeberry was used as a tonic. Modern research confirms the high content of chlorogenic acid, which is studied for glucose metabolism. The only reason chokeberries aren't everywhere is because Americans don't know what to do with the astringent fruit. But the Europeans figured it out decades ago. In Poland, chokeberry juice is as common as orange juice. This is mainstream. We're just late to the party. Grow chokeberries, squeeze the juice, mix with apple juice to remove astringency. Drink every morning. Your cardiologist will wonder what you're doing differently. So there you have it. 7 fruits that are more nutritious than anything the big garden center will sell you. The reason you haven't heard of them is simple. They don't fit into the commercial food system. Too soft, too perishable, or too weird-looking for supermarket shelves. That's why grocery stores ignore them. And if grocery stores ignore them, large nurseries don't bother growing them. Supply chain economics dictate that perishable and inconsistent products are not commercially viable. But in your yard, these are the champions. These are fruits that will actually produce without requiring you to take a second education in horticulture. Stop growing the wrong fruits. Start growing these ones. If this was helpful, write in the comments which one you plant first. If you are already growing any of the above, please tell me where I went wrong. I love a good debate. Click subscribe if you want more videos about food that is worth growing, not buying. If you think I'm talking nonsense, click dislike. In any case, the algorithm loves engagement. Thanks for watching. Now go plant something weird.